Hello and welcome back to the Midlife Reinvention podcast. It's your coach, Kavita, with your Thursday check-in. On Monday's episode number 306, and if you haven't heard it yet, I'd encourage you to go back and listen to it, I spoke with Dr. Kathleen Perry, and we had a beautiful conversation about something so many women in midlife are quietly going through. The hidden identity shift that happens when the roles you've spent decades building start to loosen. And one of the threads that emerged from our conversation is something I want you to sit with today. It's the voice in your head, which is not you. We have a voice, we all do. It comments on your decisions. It second guesses your insights. It tells you you're not ready or not qualified, or that the timing isn't right. And in midlife, when so much of who you were is reorganizing, that voice often gets louder. Because the more you move towards something new, the more that voice has to lose. So today, here's something practical. Because knowing the voice in your head isn't you is one thing. Telling it apart from your actual wisdom in real time, when you're standing at the edge of a decision, is a whole other thing. Here are 3 signs that what you're hearing is the critic and not the wisdom. The first sign is listen to the word should. The first sign is in the language itself. Your inner critic speaks in shoulds. It says, I should be further along by now. I shouldn't have wanted something different at this stage. I should be grateful for what I have. It speaks to have tos and supposed tos and can'ts. It uses the language of obligation, of comparison, of the standards that you've been measuring yourself against your whole life. But your inner wisdom speaks differently. It asks what you want, not what's reasonable, not what's expected, what you actually want. This was one of the most powerful threads in my conversation with Kathleen Perry. The question that cuts through everything else, what do I actually want? Not what should I want, or not what should I do, not what can I do, not what's responsible, but what do I actually want? That single question is a doorway through the noise. So this week, when you hear your own voice in your head, notice the verb. If you hear should, you're likely listening to the critic. But if you hear want, you're listening to your wisdom. That single word is a doorway. Sign number 2, your body knows before your mind does. The second sign isn't in your head at all. It's in your body. One of the threads we explored together was how the body signals when the critic has taken over. That sense in your body that something's off, that's the moment. The thoughts create a feeling, and the feeling is telling you something important. I called it a check engine light, because that's exactly what your body is. It isn't malfunctioning when it feels light or anxious or off. It's signaling. In coaching, we talk about catabolic and anabolic energy. Catabolic energy is contracting and depleting and stress-based. Anabolic energy is expansive and generative and fueling. Your inner critic creates catabolic energy in your body, tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, shoulders climbing upwards towards your ears, a clenched jaw. That contracted and urgent, slightly panicked feeling that either pulls you forward too fast or shuts you down completely. Your inner wisdom, however, is anabolic. It feels different in the body. Even when wisdom is asking you to do something that scares you, there's a spaciousness to it, a steadiness, and you may feel nervous, yes, but underneath the nerves, there's a kind of okayness. A kind of quiet sense of, yes, this is right. So this week, before you trust the voice in your head, check in with your body. Where is the tightness? Where is the spaciousness? Your body has been telling you the difference your whole life. You're learning how to listen to it now. And sign number 3 is the critic tells a story you've heard before. I think the third sign is the most useful one, and it's the one I think will help you the most. Your inner critic is repetitive. It doesn't have new material. It has the same handful of stories it's been telling you for decades. You're too much. You're not enough. You should have figured this out by now. Who do you think you are? It's not the right time. You'll embarrass yourself. You missed your window. But if you slow down and really listen, you'll notice what feels like a fresh, important warning is almost always a story that you've heard from yourself 100 times before. The moment when you catch yourself and think, oh, that story again, that story's running again. And that recognition is everything. Because the moment you can name it as a familiar story rather than a real warning, you stop believing it. You see through it. Your inner wisdom is different. Wisdom doesn't loop. It doesn't have a script. It shows up in the moment, specific to what's actually happening right now. It often arrives quietly, almost gently, and it doesn't repeat itself trying to convince you. It says something once and then waits to see if you're listening. So this week, when a thought lands hard and feels true, ask yourself, have I heard this from myself before? If you have, it's likely the critic in a new outfit. If you haven't, lean in. That might be the wisdom you've been waiting to hear. So my friend, you don't have to manage the voice in your head. You don't have to fix it or argue with it or shut it down. You only have to see through it. The seeing is the change. So this week, here's a small experiment. The next time you're facing a small decision, something low stakes, something like whether to text a friend back or to take a walk after work or how to spend an unscheduled hour on a Saturday morning, instead of running it through your usual mental committee, ask yourself one question. What do I actually want? Then notice what answers comes first. Before the shoulds and the supposed tos and the what would be reasonable, jump in. Notice what your body does with that first answer and then act on it. It's a small thing, but it's how you start to recognize the voice underneath the noise. And once you can hear it in the small moments, you'll start to trust in the bigger ones. If today's episode is sitting with you and you can feel how much the voice in your head has been running the show, my 28 Days to Building Confidence guide was built exactly for this. Because hearing your own wisdom over the noise of the critic takes practice, and confidence is what lets you act on what you hear. The guide gives you 28 days of small daily practices and short video lessons from me to help you trust your own voice one day at a time. The link is in the show notes. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who needs to hear it, and consider leaving a review wherever you listen. It helps other people find this work. And remember, my friend, you get to decide what comes next. So say it with me, and say it with confidence. It's my time now.